Examining the events that impact and shape China and the rest of the world. This is the Beijing Hour, 1 hour of news and information brought to you every weekday. Now here's your host.
Shane Bigham with you on this Thursday, June 25th, 2026. You're listening to the Beijing Hour, coming to you live from the Chinese capital. On today's program, 2 powerful earthquakes had jolted Venezuela on Wednesday and killed over 160 people by early Thursday. Business leaders at the Summer Davos meetings in Dalian are hailing the China Opportunities 2.0 idea, and technical talks for the U.S.-Iran peace deal are running into some sticking points. In business, China's International Supply Chain Expo is now open to the public. In sports, Brazil dominates and secures its spot in the World Cup knockout rounds. In culture and entertainment, China's summer box office is set to surge. And now the day's top stories. 2 powerful earthquakes that jolted Venezuela on Wednesday have killed over 160 people as of early Thursday. A 7.2 magnitude quake followed by a stronger 7.5 tremor struck west of Caracas. Acting President Delcy Rodriguez has declared a state of emergency, and she's called for national unity and asked for the people's trust to overcome the disaster.
I want Venezuela to know in national unity that it can count on the authorities, that it can count on the national government and the regional governments, which are already deployed throughout the country. Where these 2 consecutive earthquakes were felt in practically all states, but particularly in the areas that were most affected and where we are already dealing with the situation of the injured. We are also addressing housing losses. In national unity, we will overcome this situation.
And now Luis Alberto Matos reports from Caracas.
There were 2 back-to-back earthquakes, the first one at 7.2 and the second one at 7.5. The damage has proven to be extensive, especially as you get closer to the epicenter of the quake. Where I'm standing right now in this neighborhood in the capital district is a building that was partially collapsed. But right on the other side of that block, there's a smaller structure, a smaller housing complex that completely collapsed. From that housing complex, the 2 people were brought out of the rubble dead, and one old woman was rescued alive. From this building right behind me, 12 people have been rescued. The 12th person was rescued just moments ago. And currently, there is work being done to rescue a 13th person. And taking into account that there's still another person that they know that still is alive, they have contact with that person, and work is underway to try to rescue her. Now, talking about damage, especially when you go to the area of the epicenter of the earthquake, especially around Carabobo, this is the state where the quake occurred, the damage is more extensive, especially because it was a very shallow quake, only 13 kilometers of depth. That made it that it was more powerfully felt on the surface, and also that it brought more damage to the surface. We were driving around just moments ago across the capital district, and there are different buildings that show superficial damage on the infrastructure in a neighborhood that is in downtown, a very residential area here in Caracas, Altamira. There's also 2 buildings that were completely collapsed, and also 3 buildings that have serious damage. Well, transportation here in the capital city is in a standstill in terms of the public transportation. The metro system is canceled right now. The train service is also canceled. Communication is being difficult. There's a lot of issue in terms of connection because there are a lot of calls that are jamming the system, and there's also damage to some infrastructure in terms of communication here in the capital. But if you go to near the epicenter, highways have been completely destroyed, completely made unpassable. In terms of transportation in the capital, private transportation, people are moving around in cars. People are on the streets right now, as was recommended by the authorities. Currently, the focus right now is on the civilian population, the civilian structures that received damage, and the civil protection. All state agencies, security agencies are currently deployed across the nation, and they're currently working against the clock to be able to save as many lives as possible. Another service that is completely on hold is gas. Gas service has been cut off throughout this period, and it will not resume until the situation has been restored and they know that it's safe to restore the gas service. It's a way to prevent any kind of accidents related to gas leaks or something of that nature. Schools have also been suspended. The schools, all classes are suspended until further notice. There is currently a state of emergency being implemented in Venezuela, as was announced by the acting president, Delcy Rodriguez. And this state of emergency is to be able to facilitate all the process to be able to recover as much as possible. But as the authorities say right now, Venezuela is focused on rescuing as many survivors as possible, and we'll have to wait to see the tally of casualties.
That was Luis Alberto Matos reporting. Authorities have evacuated many residents from collapsed buildings in Caracas. The evacuees are now sheltering outdoors. A former Venezuelan lawmaker captured the impact of the earthquake that rocked Maiquetía Airport on the coast north of the capital.
Observen cómo quedó el aeropuerto Maiquetía estando nosotros acá adentro.
It's shaking. Look at what Maiquetía Airport looks like while we're here inside. Look at the disaster here, completely destroyed. Look at it after the earthquake. Look at how everything ended up. Everyone, the situation we're experiencing here is serious. A high magnitude earthquake.
Other residents have also shared their harrowing accounts.
Here we feel awful. It's the first time we've experienced anything like this. I was sleeping, and when I woke up, I saw that my house was literally moving. The tanks were falling, the water jug fell, some dishes broke.
Very strong tremor. I thought it was like a whirlwind coming, I said. Could it be a gale that was tearing everything up? And then I saw the pole shaking, and after that we all grabbed onto each other, and we heard this ping, 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 as everything shattered glass panes, glasses, everything that could break because of the movement.
That thing was moving all over the place. We just bolted. Everything in the house got smashed. It's all a total mess now.
Rescue workers are still searching for survivors. Stephen Gibbs reports from the Venezuelan capital.
Well, this is Altamira, Caracas, on the eastern side of the city, and this is unfortunately one of the buildings that completely collapsed. There's a rescue effort going on. The extraordinary thing that happens in earthquakes is that you have one building that survives and another just next to it completely collapsed, and the rescue workers for several hours now have been trying to find if there is anyone alive under that rubble. Now, the extraordinary thing really also is that this Caracas is almost 200 kilometers away from the epicenter, and yet it was felt really, really strongly here, this double quake, a 7.2 and then a 7.5 within seconds of each other. So a lot of people here are still in shock. A lot of them can't stay in their homes. They feel that the buildings are unsafe, or they're just too scared to do so. So there are a lot of people milling around. But here, as I say, is just one of what are probably several hundred or several thousand buildings across the country that will have collapsed in this disaster. It's always bigger in the cities, where you have a concentration of people. This is the strongest earthquake that's been felt or experienced in this country in a century. The last one was in 1967. There were around 300 people killed there, but the fear is this time the death toll could be a lot more.
That was Stephen Gibbs reporting. Coming up, China Opportunity 2.0.
China has unveiled a new action plan to stabilize and upgrade foreign investment. Is this just another policy update, or does it signal a deeper shift in China's approach to opening up? Why is the focus moving from market access to helping foreign companies thrive after they enter? Which sectors stand to benefit most? And amid global uncertainty and fierce competition for capital, can China remain one of the world's top investment destinations? Join us at this week's Chat Lounge as we unpack China's latest foreign investment playbook. Listen wherever you get your podcasts and on CGTN Radio.
It's 9 minutes past the hour. Business leaders participating in the annual meeting of the New Champions, or the Summer Davos, say global business is no longer a one-way street. On Wednesday, Chinese Premier Li Qiang said in his speech that China Opportunity 2.0 represents innovation-driven empowerment and high-return prospects for enterprises worldwide. Jean-Charles Van den Branden with Bain & Company says China Opportunity 2.0 means collaboration and reinforcing strengths for global businesses.
Opportunity 2.0 is not a one-way street, not as a competition, but more as an opportunity to collaborate and find the places of reinforcing strength. If companies don't move to electric vehicles, they will have a risk. And that risk is what we might call, zombification, is that they are last in a market that doesn't exist anymore. So this competition is maybe also triggering a change and a kind of an industrial revolution that we will see in many of these markets.
EY China Chair Jack Chan says building a true global ecosystem means connecting markets, capital, talent, and compliance.
The central government has been promoting what we call high-quality opening up. So that's very important for foreign investor or whoever are interested to invest in China to understand, the policy and all, I would say, the rules and regulations around it. We are talking about how to build local market capabilities. That means it's actually a change from going out to going in. Building a true global ecosystem means going beyond supply chains to connect markets, capital, talent, as well as compliance.
Yara International CEO Sven Tore Holseter calls for stronger and more streamlined supply chains.
It's about creating synergies here. How do we get benefits from scale? I mean, given the size of the market here in China, but combining that with technologies that we have developed in Europe. This is about collaboration and thinking about we have to be prepared that the geopolitical tension will continue. So it's about strengthening the value chains for producing, but also about shortening the supply chains. Of course, trade is important. Trade is key in order to sustain societies, but it's also about creating stronger local supply chains, both here in China, but also in Europe and worldwide.
This year's Summer Davos concludes on Thursday. It's drawn over 1,700 participants from more than 90 countries and regions, marking the largest Summer Davos gathering in 2 decades. Under the banner Innovating at Scale, the forum delved into transformative fields such as artificial intelligence, new energy, biomedicines, and quantum technologies. The Energy Transition Index 2026 shows that the global energy landscape is becoming more fragmented. Wan Hongjia has more from the Summer Davos meetings on how China is creating new opportunities.
Geopolitical tensions, supply disruptions, and rising demand are casting shadows on the global energy transition. At this year's annual meeting of the New Champions, 19 sessions delve into deeper dialogues on this topic.
So if you look at how the transition could and should happen in the future, this is not the great outlook.
The World Economic Forum's latest Energy Transition Index points to a more fragmented world with divergent pathways and uneven progress. This report finds China continue to invest in clean energy at record highs. Although much of the rhetoric of China Shock 2.0 pointing to EVs and solar panels, casting China's green growth as a threat to developing economies, our conversations these days with the guests tell a very different story.
I don't think that this will be the case. China has, in the recent year, really shifted from the low value adding manufacturing to the high quality manufacturing. This development will overall be a benefit for both for China and also for emerging countries and also for the Western countries.
China's solar supply chain, if I may put it that way, was responsible for nearly the significant price drop that then allows emerging markets, countries in the global south, to kind of adopt it further.
Scale is rewriting cost curves. Over 2 decades, China has built the world's largest and fastest growing renewable energy system, not in theory, but through trial, error, and acceleration. Executives here say those lessons are now exportable.
In Somalia, only about 30% of 20 million people have access to electricity. We propose distributed systems combining wind and solar. In France, once a minister asked me about intermittency. Our answer is integration. Wind, solar, storage, and hydrogen. A full zero-carbon system. The China Opportunity 2.0 can not only meet China's domestic market demand, more importantly, our country can support other countries to advance energy transition.
Question from China Global Television Network. Since 2010, solar costs have dropped nearly 90%, onshore wind over 50%, battery storage as much as 93%. Analysts believe China's replicable pathways is shrinking the global gap.
China will be central to the global energy transition. The scale of industrial production of critical transition technologies and EVs helps to bring down the marginal cost of our collective global effort to effect a transition and to provide equal access to these technologies at a lower marginal cost to countries across the world.
At a time where energy security is back at the top of the agenda, resilience is becoming the new metric of competitiveness.
I think China has demonstrated this year, especially in the wake of the crisis in Iran, that it actually has designed a much more energy secure system than many other countries. China, I think, was earliest to recognize the economic opportunity in the clean energy economy.
Not China Shock 2.0, but China Opportunity 2.0. In Dalian, that debate already has an answer. When transition brings down costs, scales fast, and delivers certainty, it becomes an effective pathway that every country can draw on.
That was Wan Hongjia reporting. A high-end artificial intelligence park in northeast China is training professional data labelers and AI trainers to support the industry's growing talent needs. Xing Reinan visited the park in Dalian to find out more.
Cutting-edge AI theories and visions are turned into tangible industrial achievements right here in Dalian. This high-end data annotation industrial park offers full-cycle services, including data platforms, enterprise support, and talent training for the AI industry. Standing beside these amazing servers, we can truly feel the massive computing power right here. The whole park runs a 200p computing pool, providing ultra-fast processing for AI model training. This robust computing foundation fuels tangible industrial AI applications backed by both vertical sector services and targeted talent cultivation.
Data is the core fuel for AI iteration and upgrading. The industrial park provides secure and compliant data labeling platforms and services. It facilitates the rollout of vertical data labeling projects across autonomous driving, healthcare, financial services, and other sectors. It also creates a large number of new jobs. We cooperate with local universities in Dalian to train professional data labelers and AI trainers, steadily supplying talent to the industry.
That was a report about an AI industrial park in Dalian. Coming up, the U.S. and Iran are dealing with some sticking points in their peace talks.
Pulse Plus, a selection of the best podcasts in China, covering history, customs, music, literature, and in-depth dialogues. Find your way to a wealth of Chinese culture and thinking, all on Pulse Plus.
At 18 past the hour. Technical talks between Iran and the U.S. to reach a peace deal are now confronting major sticking points. U.S. President Donald Trump says Tehran's reassured him of toll-free passage through the Strait of Hormuz. But Iran and mediator Oman say discussions will begin on an agreement over services and costs related to the vital waterway. Iran and the U.S. seem increasingly at odds on key aspects of the Memorandum of Understanding they signed. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says technical talks with Tehran are set for next week in Switzerland. Alistair D'Souza reports from Washington, D.C.
Yeah, these conflicting statements just keep coming, don't they? U.S. President Trump on Truth Social Wednesday morning here in D.C. reiterating once again there will be no tolls or charges on the Strait of Hormuz. However, we've repeatedly heard from Iran and Oman that they are working on a governance system for the strait. Reuters now reporting, quoting a diplomat aware of those talks taking place, saying there won't be tolls, but Iran is proposing environmental, navigational and security fees. So in essence, tolls by a different name, critics say. Then there's the whole issue of billions of dollars that would be given to Iran as part of this Memorandum of Understanding. Some say it's nothing more than pay to play to get Tehran to agree to U.S. terms. Now, President Trump also saying in that post today that no money has been released to Iran yet. He says that the U.S. will be releasing some of that money, quote, to farmers and ranchers for the purchase of corn, wheat and soybeans. However, Iran says, nope, not happening. They would decide how the money would be spent. So Tehran saying they would be the ones deciding. Trump has also claimed that Iran has agreed to allow international inspectors indefinitely or indefinite access to its damaged nuclear sites. The UN nuclear watchdog chief saying that inspections are going to happen.
So we will be working on the modalities, dates, procedures, places very soon, and the inspections will indeed take place. Of course, this will be done in collaboration and in cooperation with the government of Iran, and I have no doubt that we are going to be able to do that.
And however, Iranian officials saying not true, a final deal with the US must be reached first. So even if for a moment we think that Iran is bluffing, let's say, it just really goes to show how Tehran feels, right? Really emboldened, perhaps revealing here that Tehran believes that it has the upper hand going forward.
That was Alistair D'Souza in Washington. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel will maintain its security zone in southern Lebanon for as long as necessary. He affirmed that this policy will stay in effect throughout his term. Defense Minister Israel Katz also said Israel will not end its invasion of Lebanon and that the U.S. has not demanded Israel withdraw from the country. The statements follow the latest round of talks between Israel and Lebanon in Washington. Meanwhile, on Wednesday, an Israeli drone strike on a car in southern Lebanon killed at least 2 people despite a new ceasefire. Officials in the Democratic Republic of the Congo say the current Ebola outbreak is the third largest on record. Authorities say its unprecedented expansion in the past month is a cause for concern. David Mbithi has more.
The current Ebola outbreak has triggered a major response backed by regional and international partners. In just over a month, the DRC has confirmed over 1,000 cases in what the World Health Organization is calling a record first-month caseload. In neighboring Uganda, confirmed cases have risen to 20, with 2 deaths confirmed by the country's health ministry.
This is the largest number of confirmed cases in the first month of an Ebola disease outbreak in Africa. It took 78 days to reach 250 deaths during the 2014 and 2016 West Africa outbreak. In the previous outbreak, 2018-19, it took 130 days. But before this outbreak, it only took 37 days.
Ebola cases have now been reported in at least 3 of eastern Congo's crowded displacement camps. According to a UN Migration Agency official, at least 25 cases had been confirmed at the camps, including 14 deaths. The country has long been facing a humanitarian crisis from years of armed conflict in the east, where rebel fighters compete for control of territory and the nation's vast mineral deposits.
In the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo, everyday life has become fraught with risk. The journey to feed your family or earn a living can also become a journey into danger. Families are carrying immense burdens. The virus has become more than a health crisis. It touches every aspect of daily life, bringing uncertainty and fear.
To contain the outbreak, the DRC and Uganda have launched a cross-border collaboration. It follows weeks of intensified public health measures, including stronger laboratory surveillance, as well as the decentralization of diagnostic capacity.
Surveillance is being scaled up, and the laboratory capacity has gone from 30 tests a day at the start of this outbreak in Kinshasa to now over 2,000 tests per day through a network of 8 decentralized labs across Ituri, North Kivu and South Kivu.
Meanwhile, the US says it is providing doses of an experimental antibody drug for use in clinical trials to fight the rare Bundibugyo strain. The experimental drug from MAP Biopharmaceutical is expected to be among the first to be tested during the outbreak, as the strain has no approved vaccine or specified therapeutics. But officials say running clinical trials in a conflict-torn region with challenging disease testing and contact tracing will be a difficult task.
That was David Mbithi reporting. Scientists have discovered a rare marine blue hole in the South China Sea. They say the site could help to unlock new clues about the evolution of marine ecosystems and support future conservation efforts. Sun Tianyuan has more.
Marine blue holes are among the rarest geological features on Earth, often referred to as the eyes of the ocean. In this one, discovered inside the lagoon of Huangyandao in the South China Sea, life flourishes. A report released by China's Ministry of Ecology and Environment shows rich biodiversity in and around the blue hole.
The blue hole is home to typical coral reef species, including corals, giant clams, fish, sponges, and sea anemones. Green sea turtles, a nationally protected species, have been observed inhabiting the blue hole and its entrance area.
Surveys conducted over the past 2 years in the surrounding waters recorded 165 species of reef-building corals and 184 species of fish. Researchers say the blue hole took shape through the long-term growth of coral reefs. They believe it began forming at least 3,200 years ago, making it the first coral reef blue hole identified in China.
Blue holes are natural archives of geological and environmental change, historical climate records, and biodiversity evolution, and therefore possess significant ecological and scientific value.
The ministry says the findings highlight the positive results of ecological protection efforts in the waters around Huangyandao. In 2025, China established a national nature reserve there to further strengthen marine conservation.
Long-term studies are now underway to uncover more of the blue hole secrets. Scientists say the research will deepen our understanding of these underwater ecosystems and help guide future conservation efforts.
That was Sun Tianyuan reporting. We have some breaking news and update on the earthquakes in Venezuela. The two powerful earthquakes that jolted the country Wednesday have killed over 160 people as of early Thursday. There was a 7.2 quake followed by a stronger 7.5 tremor, and those struck west of Caracas. Acting President Delcy Rodriguez has declared a state of emergency. The newly passed Ethnic Unity and Progress Promotion Law will go into effect next week in China. Officials say the legislation is a landmark achievement, describing it as the foundational framework for managing ethnic affairs. Lu Saray has more.
In Beijing, officials highlighted that the Chinese nation is a multi-ethnic, unified family, and ethnic unity is the lifeline for all its people. They noted that the CPC Central Committee, with General Secretary Xi Jinping at its core, has attached great importance to forging a strong sense of community for the Chinese nation. That has led to crucial principles on strengthening and improving ethnic affairs. Now, a new law, according to the Chief of Ethnic Affairs, is a major milestone in modernizing the governance system and capacity in this area.
We must fully enforce the law and let the rule of law play its role in consolidating foundations, stabilizing expectations, and ensuring long-term benefits. It will protect ethnic unity, safeguard the lawful rights of all ethnic groups, strengthen national cohesion, and advance the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation.
The law also declares the party and the state's major policies on ethnic work. It clarifies the political stance, specific tasks, and direction for the new era, ensuring party leadership over ethnic affairs both institutionally and legally. It also aims to reinforce the common political and legal foundation for unity among all ethnic groups. Officials also say the law is a powerful legal weapon for maintaining national unity and also opposing ethnic separatism. It will also take effect next week.
That was Lu Saray reporting. And Spain's recorded its hottest June day in more than 7 decades. The Spanish Weather Agency said Monday's national daily average temperature was the highest for June since records began in 1950. More than 100 weather stations hit 40 degrees Celsius or above. The town of Andújar reached 45.1 degrees Celsius. So 29 past the hour. Beijing is clear overnight. Clouds developing tomorrow. A low of 20 and it's up to 32 on Friday. Shanghai will be cloudy tonight. Overcast tomorrow. A low of 21 and a high of 29. Chongqing has a light rainfall in the forecast for this evening and tomorrow. A low of 23 and a high of 27. Nanchang's cloudy tonight and tomorrow. A low of 24 and a high of 31. Laos is getting overcast conditions this evening. A light rain developing tomorrow. Below 13, the high 26. Elsewhere in Asia, Islamabad will see a light rainfall tonight. It's becoming cloudy tomorrow. A low of 27 and 38 degrees on Friday. Vientiane will have a light rainfall tonight. Moderate rainfall developing tomorrow. A low of 25 and a high of 34 degrees Celsius. It's time for a short break. So far this hour, 2 powerful earthquakes that jolted Venezuela on Wednesday had killed over 160 people as of early Thursday. Business leaders at the Summer Davos meetings in Dalian are hailing the China Opportunities 2.0 idea, and technical talks for the U.S.-Iran peace deal are running into some sticking points. Shane Bigham with you. Stay with us here on the Beijing Hour.
From the refreshing cup of tea that starts your morning to the paper that you write on. The roots of many familiar parts of modern life can be traced back to ancient ideas. Join us on Made in Ancient China and discover how ideas born millennia ago became some of the world's greatest treasures. Made in Ancient China brings you stories of human ambition, inspiration, and connection. Now available on all major podcast platforms. Shh, listen up.
Can you hear the heartbeat of our world? It's vibrant and pulsating with the essence of life itself. From the stem of trees to the gurgle of rivers. From the silent strength of mountains to the icy whispers of glaciers. Even the solid ground beneath our feet. And right there, in the midst of all, beats the heart of humanity. What if those other heartbeats were to stop? Would ours keep on ticking?
Examining the events that impact and shape China and the rest of the world. This is the Beijing Hour, 1 hour of news and information brought to you every weekday. Now here's your host.
And Shane Bigham with you on this Thursday. Still to come. In business, China's International Supply Chain Expo is now open to the public. In sports, Brazil dominates and secures its spot in the World Cup knockout rounds. In culture and entertainment, China's summer box office is set to surge. To contact us, you can email radio@cgtn.com or follow our X account @CGTN Radio. You're also welcome to subscribe to our Substack newsletter Beyond Beijing for the world's biggest stories, along with sharp insights and exclusive analysis. But first of all, checking the day's headlines. Here's Tianli.
Thank you, Shane. The Chinese Commerce Ministry says Beijing and Washington have agreed to establish a trade council following recent economic talks. Ministry spokesperson He Yadong said on Thursday that the two sides will discuss issues including tariff reductions, with further consultations to be held by their trade teams. The spokesperson said trade cooperation between China and the United States in areas such as aircraft and agricultural products is mutually beneficial, adding that both sides will continue communication and encourage businesses to expand cooperation. Beijing says its law enforcement patrols in waters east of Taiwan are a necessary response to maritime boundary manipulations by Japan and the Philippines. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Guo Jiakun.
The DPP authorities in the Taiwan region have turned a deaf ear to the acts of infringement committed by Japan and the Philippines. Yet at the same time, they have clung to and colluded with external forces to wildly smear and attack actions taken by the central government to protect its legitimate rights, while peddling the fallacies of Taiwan independence separatist rhetoric. This once again lays bare the unrepentant nature of the DPP authorities' separatist agenda and their despicable betrayal of the overarching interests of the Chinese nation. Such actions will surely be met with the scorn of compatriots on both sides of the Taiwan Strait and be consigned to the dustbin of history.
Media reports say the US and some European countries expressed concern over Beijing's activities east of Taiwan. Guo called on those countries to respect China's sovereignty. A former Japanese prime minister has urged incumbent Prime Minister Sanna Takaichi to apologize for remarks concerning Taiwan. Speaking on Thursday, Yukio Hatoyama said Japan should not support Taiwan independence and should uphold the Japan-China joint statement. Hatoyama noted that under the 1972 agreement, Japan recognizes the People's Republic of China as the sole legal government of China and acknowledges China's position on Taiwan. Takaichi had earlier said a contingency involving Taiwan could pose a threat to Japan's survival. Beijing has rejected the claim and urged Tokyo to adhere to the pacifist principles of its constitution. Cambodian Senate President Hun Sen has arrived in Beijing. He is paying an official goodwill visit to China from Thursday to Saturday at the invitation of the Communist Party of China. Heavy rainfall continues to batter parts of the southern China. The National Meteorological Center has issued a blue alert for rain, the lowest level. Days of rain have washed out roads and brought down power and communications in Dudong, Guangxi. Firefighters in Guizhou rescued elderly people trapped in their homes in Qiandongnan. In Chongqing, a landslide blocked the national highway. In Hunan, efforts are underway to reopen major roads blocked by floodwaters in Dongshan. Residents affected by the rains have resettled in safer areas. A poll shows that more than half of Australians now view ties with China as more important than ties with the United States. The Lowy Institute survey found 61% see China as an economic partner, not a security threat, up 11 points from last year. Trust in the US to act responsibly in the world fell to a record low of 31%. China remains a top source of tourists and students, boosting local jobs and the education sector. Despite the shift, 73% still value the US alliance for security. Two powerful earthquakes that jolted Venezuela on Wednesday had killed over 160 people by early Thursday. A 7.2 magnitude quake, followed by a stronger 7.5 tremor, struck west of Caracas. Acting President Delcy Rodriguez has declared a state of emergency.
All right, thank you very much. That's Tian Li with headlines. You're listening to the Beijing Hour, and coming up in business, China's International Supply Chain Expo is now open to the public.
The Beijing Hour, your window on China and the rest of the world.
36 past the hour. Let's take a quick look at the Chinese mainland markets, where equities closed higher on Thursday. Tech shares resumed their record rally, driven by chip giant Micron's earnings. The Shanghai Composite rose by 0.2%. The Shenzhen Component gained over 1.8%, and the Chinex jumped nearly 3%. Elsewhere in China, Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index fell 1.4%. But in Japan, the Nikkei surged 4.6%. The fourth China International Supply Chain Expo has entered its fourth day, marking the event's first public open day. Visitors who registered in advance through official channels were able to enter free of charge, with strong crowds seen across the exhibition halls. Organizers upgraded on-site services to accommodate the increased attendance, adding 28 dining areas and more than 5,000 seats. Technology remained a major highlight. AI-powered volunteer robots provided guidance throughout the venue, with the expo mascot offering upgraded multilingual interactive services. Meanwhile, several business forums were held, including an international conference on agricultural trade policy, bringing together representatives from international organizations and countries across Asia and Europe to discuss future cooperation and global supply chain development. Artificial intelligence is moving beyond the lab and into the real economy. At the China International Supply Chain Expo, Dai Kai spoke with business executives and industry experts to find out whether AI has truly crossed that threshold and what tangible benefits it's already delivering.
Artificial intelligence has come a long way, but the last mile is always the hardest. Is this technology able to move beyond demonstrations and deliver value in the real economy? Here at the Supply Chain Expo, that's exactly what companies are trying to prove. At a panel discussion I moderated during the expo, industry leaders shared how AI is being applied across a growing range of industries. But while the technology is advancing rapidly, the question is how quickly those innovations can be translated into real-world results. Challenges are still there. Data often sits in separate systems, different platforms don't always talk to each other, and for many businesses, deployment costs remain a concern. But some say those barriers are starting to come down. For Schneider Electric, AI has helped transform a 30-year-old lighthouse factory in Shanghai. The company says that transformation was only possible because the digital groundwork was already in place.
AI is creating value across the entire life cycle of our business, from research and development to manufacturing and operations. Through machine learning, we've been able to improve product performance. In our factories, AI also helps optimize production scheduling, making it easier to manage a wide range of products and smaller batch sizes more efficiently.
French cosmetics giant L'Oreal says AI is also delivering tangible results in logistics. At its Suzhou Smart Fulfillment Center, the company is using the technology to better handle growing demand.
Our Suzhou Smart Fulfillment Center, which opened in 2024, can process up to 7,000 parcels within an hour. During major shopping events, it can ensure that in 99% of cases, orders are sorted and fulfilled within 48 hours. AI-powered solutions, combined with technological cooperation between China and France, have helped us achieve very strong results across all stages of the beauty supply chain.
Let's get started now.
In healthcare, companies are also finding new applications for AI that can connect different pieces of health information and help people make better sense of their health.
AI is playing an increasingly important role in health management. The system we present this time brings together many different types of health data. AI helps integrate information from different sources, giving users a more comprehensive understanding of their health risks and enabling them to manage their health more effectively.
The examples may differ, but the goal is the same, turning AI into real-world value. So, has AI reached the last mile? Not everywhere, but across the exhibition floor, there are signs that the gap between innovation and application is getting smaller.
That was Dai Kai reporting. China's building deeper agricultural supply chain connections across South America and Southeast Asia. Brazil's share of China's soybean import market reached nearly 74% in 2025, with shipments totaling about 82 million tons. Chinese agritech firms signed a strategic deal with Brazilian growers back in March to bring biotech innovations to key farm regions. In Chile, cherries represent 45% of fruit exports, with over 85% bound for China in the 2025-26 season. Meanwhile, Thailand's deepening rice technology cooperation with China, with both sides agreeing to establish a joint innovation center for low-carbon agriculture. For more analysis on agricultural supply chains, Vivian Nunes spoke with Li Yuheng, a professor at the School of Humanities and Law at Northeastern University.
China imports soybeans and cherries from South America, as well as many tropical fruits from ASEAN countries. How do agricultural supply chains across borders help guarantee food security? And what is their impact when it comes to prices?
Cross-border agricultural imports are truly essential to China's food security. As we can see, it helps to diversify our supply sources and fill the gaps in domestic production. By importing the soybeans or tropical fruits from other countries, China reduces its reliance on any single supplier, which makes the overall food system more resilient to potential shocks. And the well-managed cross-border supply chains have also brought once very expensive tropical fruits to more Chinese consumers. And in the meantime, expanded soybean imports from Brazil, for instance, could help stabilize the supply of animal feed and cooking oil. As for the prices, as we could feel that these international flows tend to moderate domestic price spikes. And even though global logistic costs and weather-related disruptions can still transit this volatility across markets. But I would say overall, this cross-border agricultural trade gives China the flexibility to meet its enormous food demand while offering the consumers more choices and more stable prices in the long run.
Yes. Lots of advantages to diversifying suppliers then. We talk a lot about AI having an impact in almost every part of life now. Is there a role for it to play in agricultural production, would you say?
Artificial intelligence is already, I would say, making a very big difference in China's farming system. For instance, I'm now in northeast China, the Daqing from the Heilongjiang province for the field survey. And we can see that there are already these AI-driven farming systems that can carry out planting, management, and harvesting with very minimal labor input, which has seen a significant drop in both the labor input, the cost, and the time. And from the agri-tech perspective, we also see that AI has helped develop new green varieties that are more resilient to drought and pests, for instance. And in the meantime, weather forecasts built on AI modeling and simulation could also enable real-time and decision-making and rapid operational responses to deal with climatic disasters. And I would say these cases all show that AI is not just a concept. Well, it boosts both productivity and sustainability. which is essentially valuable as we are facing climatic change and a growing population.
That was Li Yuheng from Northeastern University. 5 Chinese government departments have launched a pilot program for industrial 5G standalone private networks with the goal of accelerating 5G integration in key sectors. Unlike virtual or hybrid private networks that run on public infrastructure, enterprises will independently build and operate these standalone systems, ensuring production data stays protected and network resources are fully dedicated. The pilot will cover large firms and industries including raw materials, equipment and manufacturing, consumer goods, electronics, and energy. China's total installed power generation capacity reached 4 billion kilowatts by the end of May, the highest in the world. The country's energy mix continues to shift toward cleaner sources. Coal-fired power now accounts for 32% of total capacity, down from 61% in 2010. Meanwhile, non-fossil energy sources make up 62% of installed capacity. Officials say the rapid expansion of low-cost, large-scale green electricity is supporting industrial upgrading, ensuring reliable power supplies for households and fostering the growth of emerging industries. You're listening to the Beijing Hour. Coming up in sports, Brazil dominates and secures its spot at the World Cup knockout rounds.
Sideline Story brings you all things sports related. The hottest topics, latest events, juiciest stories, all with a very personal take. Subscribe to Sideline Story Podcast for heated sports discussions covering events that are happening in China and around the world.
47 past the hour, and turning to sports. In Atlanta, 5-time world champion Brazil is into the knockout rounds after a dominant 3-0 victory over Scotland, securing top spot in Group C with a perfect performance. It was a night of familiar faces and milestones. Vinicius Jr. was on target twice, and the biggest cheer of the evening was reserved for Neymar, who made his first international appearance in nearly 3 years. Brazil needed just 7 minutes to break the deadlock, and they never looked back. While the Scots were left to rue defensive errors, Brazil's head coach, Carlo Ancelotti, said his team is growing at exactly the right time.
We are now playing as a team, and that was the aim. We are not perfect, and we need to improve a few things, like our pace with the ball. We could also be quicker when we have possession, but I'm happy because after the first match, the team has improved a lot and quickly. So now we are solid, and this is very important because in the knockout rounds, being solid is very important.
Well, for Scotland, the math is now complicated. Sitting on 3 points with a negative goal difference. They must wait to see if their record's enough to secure one of the 8 third-place qualification spots. Head coach Steve Clarke did not hold back in his assessment, admitting his side gifted the game to the South Americans.
Listen, we're playing a top-quality team. We know they're deadly in the attacking third of the pitch, and we gave them, for sure, the first 2 goals, probably the third goal as well. So we gave them the goals, but on the counter of that, they also missed a few chances, and Angus had to make a few good saves. So on that one, on us was to try and create something second half. We got the ball in the box a number of times. We created 1 or 2 chances, but nothing really clean. And when you look at Brazil's attacking play in the final third of the pitch, and you look at ours, there's really no comparison.
And for more, here's Yang Guang in studio. First question, after nearly 1,000 days away, Neymar's back in a Brazil shirt. So how would you assess his return?
Well, Neymar came on as a 76th minute substitute, and in just 14 minutes he created 3 chances and registered a shot on target. But what did we actually see? Honestly, it was more emotion than impact. The 34-year-old was visibly tearful as he entered the field and the Miami crowd erupted. But the performance itself was measured and limited. He had 24 touches and some flashy moments, but overall there was some evident rust on the physical side. Neymar's role going forward is still likely to be an impact bench player rather than a starter. As manager Carlo Ancelotti put it, he brings experience and knowledge, and for this Brazil side, that veteran presence off the bench might be exactly what they need as the knockout rounds approach.
Morocco has booked its place in the last 32, but it was forced to dig deep against already eliminated Haiti. Morocco came from behind twice to secure a 4-2 victory in Atlanta. The result confirms their progression alongside Brazil from Group C. Bosnia and Herzegovina has kept their tournament dreams alive with a convincing 3-1 victory over Qatar in Seattle. The result put them in a strong position to secure a historic spot in the knockout rounds. 18-year-old Karim Alibegovic announced himself on the biggest stage stage, smashing home from 20 yards in the 29th minute to become the 8th youngest goal scorer in World Cup history. Bosnia and Herzegovina doubled their lead just 5 minutes later when veteran Edin Zico's volley deflected off a defender and into the net. Qatar pulled one back before halftime, but Armen Mamic sealed the victory with his second goal of the tournament in the 80th minute. Bosnia now sits third in Group B with 4 points and is in position to advance as one of the best third-place finishers, which would mark their first ever knockout appearance in just their second World Cup. After the match, head coach Sergei Barbarez downplayed the achievement, insisting that everything from here on is a bonus.
I think it's best to wait for all the matches to be over, and then we will know if we're going further and who we'll play against. All I can tell you is that all of this is a bonus for us. We will be extremely relieved, and we will try to take on any team that comes our way.
Well, for now, Bosnia will enjoy these extra days in America, waiting to see if their fairy tale run continues. So Yangguang Bosnia-Herzegovina is the first team ever to reach the knockout rounds, despite finishing third in their group. With this new expanded format now allowing the best 8 third-place teams to advance, how has this changed the game?
Well, I really believe this new format makes the group stage more exciting. With more teams staying alive longer, that suspense now carries right through to the final whistle of the last round. Teams genuinely won't know their fate until the very last result is in. Tactically, it flips the script. While the first 2 games might be about grinding out a single point, that final group game becomes an all-or-nothing sprint for all 3. That's brilliant for fans. In the past, those sides would have been eliminated early, turning their last match into a lifeless, pointless friendly match. Plus, it gives more nations a real taste of knockout football, and that inevitably raises the odds of an upset. In a sudden death scenario, anything can happen. There's no buffer like you get in the group stage where you can cover from a bad result. It removes the safety net, and that unpredictability adds incredible drama to the tournament.
All right, thank you very much. That was Yang Guang with some analysis in sports. You're listening to the Beijing Hour. Coming up in culture and entertainment, China's summer box office is set to surge.
The best military commander is not he who fights 100 battles and wins every one of them. The best military strategy does not lead to the desiccation of the enemy's capital city. Decoding the Art of War will help you understand why there's no art in war and how Sun Tzu stayed undefeatable using the science of war, with fun stories and insightful breakdown of famous battles. Find Decoding the Art of War wherever you listen.
53 past the hour. In culture and entertainment, China's film market continues to gain momentum as the summer box office season sees strong audience demand and a packed release schedule. More than 80 domestic and international films are lined up for the summer season. The releases span genres including historical dramas, comedies, romance, and animation. Data from online platforms show that China's total box office revenue for 2026 has already surpassed 17 billion yuan. That's roughly $2.5 billion, underscoring sustained growth in the entertainment sector. Among the year's top-performing titles so far are Pegasus 3, Dear You, and Blades of the Guardians, which currently rank as the top 3 films at the box office. As part of China's 5-year initiative to invite 50,000 young Americans for exchange and study programs, 20 American university students have toured around Shanghai and experienced Chinese culture and advanced technologies firsthand at Shanghai Normal University, Tianhua College. Tang Xiaofan reports.
Dressed in Hanfu, watching robot dance performances, enjoying traditional Chinese folk music, and trying their hand at Chinese calligraphy. 20 university students from the United States were invited to Shanghai Normal University Tianhua College for an exchange program that allows them to discover the city while learning about Chinese culture and some of the country's advanced technologies.
So far, I've liked being able to write and see something and then put it here myself. That's been fun. I think it's important for people to come and visit places other than their homes to see how things can be done differently.
Many of these students were in China for the first time, and they were excited to explore the city.
Very large cities, very large population, very beautiful landscape, lots of lights at night, lots of, things to do. So I was very excited to come visit and to be able to tour the cities. So I hope to learn kind of the day-to-day life that's different than the American life, to see, waking up, going to work, public transportation, the different city life, going to school, the process of graduating, getting a job, and so forth.
I did water calligraphy in my Chinese language class at Weber State. This is the Chinese name that my teacher gave me, Shi Jianing. I started learning Chinese because my best friend is from Chengdu, China. We met in elementary school and we've been best friends ever since.
This is the third year Tianhua College has hosted the exchange program. Named the Young Envoys Scholarship, the program is part of China's major initiative of inviting 50,000 young Americans to China for exchange and study programs over a 5-year period. Through short-term study visits, summer schools, cultural experiences, and other formats, it provides young people from abroad with opportunities to learn more about China. In addition to visiting and learning on campus, these American students also visited Xujiahui Guangqi Park, Shanghai Science and Technology Museum, Zhujiajiao, and Zhangyuan.
That was Tang Xiaofan reporting. A group of Hungarian artists is visiting a northern Chinese province as part of a 13-day tour to interpret ancient Chinese architecture through their own artistic traditions. More than 20 painters and cultural workers have been traveling across Shanxi province since June 17th, sketching and painting historic sites that span more than 1,000 years. Their itinerary has taken them from the Jinsa Temple in Taiyuan to the iconic Yingshan wooden pagoda and the Yungang grottos. A delegation representative called art a universal language that needs no translation. Shanxi holds nearly 30,000 ancient architectural relics, including over 80% of China's surviving wooden structures from the Yuan dynasty and earlier. Meanwhile, Hungarian fine arts carry a distinctive blend of Chinese and European influences, making the exchange a natural meeting of traditions. Shanxi and Hungary's Zolnok County have been sister regions since 2007, with close cooperation in culture, education, and tourism. 57 past the hour. Beijing getting clear skies overnight. Clouds developing tomorrow. Low of 20. It's up to 32 on Friday. Shanghai will be cloudy overnight. Overcast tomorrow. Low of 21 and a high of 29. Chongqing is getting a light rainfall tonight and tomorrow. A low of 23 and it's up to 27 on Friday. Nanchung's cloudy this evening and tomorrow. A low of 24 and a high of 31. Lhasa will be overcast tonight. A light rain developing tomorrow. A low of 13. The high is 26 degrees. Elsewhere in Asia, Islamabad will see a light rainfall tonight, cloudy tomorrow, a low is 27, it's up to 38 degrees on Friday. And that's it for this edition of the Beijing Hour. Making news today, 2 powerful earthquakes had jolted Venezuela on Wednesday, had killed over 160 people as of early Thursday. And business leaders at the Summer Davos meetings in Dalian are hailing the China Opportunities 2.0 idea. On behalf of the staff, this is Shane Bigham in the Chinese capital. Hoping you'll join us for the next edition of the Beijing Hour and open a window to the world together.
Find the Beijing Hour at precisely 6 p.m. Beijing time. We meet you on podcast and on air every weekday. The Beijing Hour, your window on China and the rest of the world.
He can't live without the Yellow River in his eyes.
The Yellow River is so noble and elegant.
Both my grandpa and dad made a living from the river.
Would you like to move away from the Yellow River?
I don't think I will. I love it so much.
The Yellow River, the second longest river in China, is regarded as a shaping force in the history, economy, and culture of northern China. Today, about 100 million people live within its water basin, making up nearly 9% of the country's population. How is climate change felt at its headwaters, and what are the locals doing to cope with it? What are the descendants of the boatmen doing? What has kept some people from leaving their home village by the river, and what has drawn others back? Could the fading fishing community revive in a time of digital transformation? From 2021 to 2024, our reporters visited the upper, middle, and lower reaches of the Yellow River talk to the herders, farmers, boatmen, fishermen, and eco-activists who share a close bond with the river and present their stories in pictures, podcasts, and videos, all in our 12-part series, The Yellow River Mosaic, available only on CGTN Radio